Thank you very much and good afternoon to everyone. I just remember 2 hours ago this hall was full and I was in the queue to get inside and was waiting list and finally able to came in. But I really appreciate the 4 presentation we had. My presentation is slightly different what you have seen so far, and we are talking much more broadly the issues faced by the adolescents. And we are talking about where the story begins about a country, Pakistan, which is the sixth most populous country in the world with about 188 million people, and about 30% of them are adolescents. Yeah, and we have low HIV prevalence, which is less than 1%, but there is a evidence of concentrated epidemic among MSM and the injecting drug users, and the risky behaviors among young people and high STIs has been seen in Pakistan in the last couple of national studies. Realizing this problem among young people and also realizing that it's a behavioral aspect to it, so we started a program focusing on sexual reproductive health and right, what we call SRHR. And this is basically the program supported by the European Union and the Dutch government for 4 years. It's called Rights-Driven Institutionalization of SRHR in Pakistan. And Urdu, we call it, in local language, we call it Hamara Kal, which means our future. Yeah, and realizing the context of Pakistan is a very conservative Muslim country going through a severe Talibanization problem in Pakistan. So working on such issues required a lot of cautious and a lot of care that we have taken, and we are moving forward. If you look at the map of Pakistan, we worked in 3 places. If you look at the bottom down is Karachi, which is a population of about 20 million people, huge country, huge city. Then we work is metropolitan, and then work on the between is a rural community in Sindh province of Pakistan, and then we work in urban and rural mix. So we wanted to see the behavior of all 3 into it. Where we were able to make the difference, we worked with about 140,000 young people, about 1,000 teachers, 240 health professionals, civil society organization about 100. Yeah, and then we work very closely with the media, government official and the policy makers. It's a much more integrated approach. And then working in Pakistan is very important, or in any conservative society, to take religious leaders with you and also to take parents. Yeah, and I will share with you, and also the national and provincial level policies was really focus of our intervention. We use a magic approach, which we call AIM. A is basically assessing the prevalence of the SRHR, and I can show you a research which we did on the young people in Pakistan using the IPPF Charter of the Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights and Sexual Rights Declaration. And we did a baseline, develop a tool, and that gave us an idea, and it was supported by Dr. John David, who is a professor at the New South Wales University and working on HIV/AIDS research. So that was the assessment part, which gave us the idea what is the situation. Then we went into the institutionalization part, because the idea is that how we institutionalize SRHR into different aspects. So first was the school, and one of the presidents of South Africa, she talked about the important role school plays into it. So we developed a comprehensive curriculum on life skills, which is very close to comprehensive sexuality education, has information about sexual reproductive health and rights of adolescents, and then it was endorsed by the religious leader. We had problem at some stage where they objected to it and they said this is sex education, and then we have to negotiate with them that it's a comprehensive sexuality education and sex education are 2 different things we are talking about. And as a result, they reviewed our curriculum and then finally gave us a certificate that there is nothing against religion in this curriculum or the workbook, and we used it. So that's the way and then the schools adapted it, and we have done more than 500 high schools, secondary schools in Pakistan so far. And then institutionalization at home. Yeah, because when we started working with the young people and they went to home along with their workbooks and the materials, so the question came around that most of these parents, because half of the people are not educated in Pakistan, that what we are talking to their children, so there is a need to educate or sensitize the parents about it. And the children were available as a captive audience in the school, but parents were not coming to the school. Yeah, so the challenge for us was that how we reach out to the challenge, and then we come up with an innovative approach. We will talk in it in a couple of minutes. So that's the way we integrated our approach at the home. And then the home gave a very positive response. And then third is the policy. When we start working on it, the process of policy making was started in Pakistan. So we negotiated along with UNICEF, UNAIDS, other organizations with the government, and finally were able to push very clear references to the new emerging trends into the national education and national youth policy. And then after devolution of power to the provinces, we also started working with the provinces. So that's where we got a lot of successes, at least to get them into the policies. And then, because through education we create a demand for youth-friendly services, so we have to now work with the health services to cater to the needs of. So we work on about 20 health facilities, we work with about 240 healthcare providers, we adopted WHO guidelines on the youth-friendly services and then work with them, and still working with these facilities and working with the government to endorse the protocols and integrate it into minimum service packages. And the last part of the aim was the monitoring for SRHR situation related to the institutionalization. It was an ongoing process at all three project level, and we developed a toolkit to assess the violation of the SRHR in different areas, and then we start publishing a report on the annual basis. And then it also helped us to create enabling environment, and SRHR was recognized as a subsector within the health and reproductive health, and then also rights-driven approach was adopted and accepted as it. The resources we develop into it is being used widely in Pakistan and also in South Asia. We work with the media, we work with the religious scholar, we did the researches, we developed the tools, and then one thing you see something is certificate from the religious scholar, which make them easier to access to schools and also negotiate with the government. The innovation which I was talking about, the parent involvement strategy, how to do it. And we draw this lesson from that whenever you are at home and your phone is not working or your television is not working, so you always go to the young kids into this home to get their help. So it means that we are willing to learn from young people. There is no barrier in doing that. So we developed this idea of reverse education, that when we work with the children in the school, the adolescent within the school between the 12 to 16 years of age. So we develop some tools you can see in the bottom of the table, which is basically 2 stories, and we have over 6 stories like that. And one story is for Hira, which is a girl story, where we are talking about the sexual harassment, and the key messages were the girls are not responsible to create situation of harassment, and parents should support their daughter to enhance their confidence. So that's a story about 10 pages with pictures. The student go back to take back to their home and discuss with their parents and also get their feedback. Similarly, we also develop a story of a boy, which is Amir, and where we talk about the gender roles, and the key message is where the boys don't lose their respect and dignity by sharing roles and also working household chores. And man and woman are equal and they should share their responsibility when needed. So these sort of messages then we develop further on the child marriages and domestic violence, because these are some of other areas, important area. So as a result, we got a very positive response from the parents, and parents also got the education and also get an enabling environment home and allow the students to continue their education. Then we evaluated this program through literature review, beneficiary survey, focus group discussion and everything. And interestingly, if you look at the outcome of our work is that 87% of the students reported increased awareness about the SRHR issues. 97% indicated a positive self-belief, self-esteem and self-confidence. 82% has enhanced their confidence. 91% improved discussion with their parent, because the idea was to open the communication between teacher, parents and the young people. And 52% got attitudinal, because the life skill-based education talk about both knowledge, skills and attitude. And because it was just after 6 months of the project, we evaluated it, so we still found in evidence of about 12% people impact, that they have changed their life and they have adopted healthy and health-seeking behaviors. So that's, and then we have few resources available on our website. So thank you very much for your attention.